They are coming. Go, torch it. Burn it all.
But what about the serum?
Leave nothing. Now I will show you how I deal with informants. Finish him.
With pleasure.
These are the coordinates Ellis sent.
Over there.
It's Ellis. Executed. Leon, you find anything?
The place is torched. I don't know what they were growing, but it wasn't narcotics.
Romer knew we were coming.
So what's our next move?
We watch for the next viral outbreak. We won't have to wait long.
Logan's report was clear enough.
I want 2 additional teams assigned to this. Find Romer.
I understand.
Logan is my best agent. What do you want to do?
Nothing. We will wait. We will wait and see what he can discover.
Our WHO contact was correct. Everyone within 100 miles is dead.
Not everyone. This man is still alive.
How is that possible?
It's not.
Okay, so this is not, as you can see, little taskbar there and my mouse moving. This isn't a live run as usual. This is a stitch. Now that I finally got it all together,
This is a quick primer on the basic controls.
I threw in a few things here, just because I knew I'd take a minute to get started. But
to move around the environment. By pressing
after
L1
this,
in
it'll set
conjunction
up the
with
glitch, then the
D-pad, you
speedrun
can
will
aim your
start.
weapons for
It's at
accurate
about an
fire.
hour.
Different weapons have
There's
different
still
aim
some
modes.
like less than
When aiming
optimal
with the
plays,
sniper rifle,
but
you
it's
can hit the
minor
triangle
stuff,
button
you
to
know,
zoom in
just because
and
I
the
didn't
circle
want to
button to
restart
zoom
the whole
out.
thing over again to get better footage.
Tap the select button to quickly switch to the next
I'll be
weapon,
doing a bit of
or
a play-by-play,
hold select down
and
press
just don't mind the
L2
music in
or
the background.
R2
There will
to
be,
cycle back and
so when you
forth
hear
between
like some
weapons.
Undertale music coming through in the
Press
background in
start
a little
to pause
bit,
the game and access the
you know,
interface.
you're not
Here
losing
you
your
can
mind
change game
slowly.
options, access level maps, and most importantly, check your current mission objectives and parameters. Pay attention to these. Fail any of them and it's game over.
I'll be keeping up with the
Triangle
timer,
is
but
your
I'll just be giving a
interaction
quick
button.
little
Use it to
play-by-play
kick
for
open doors,
everything.
activate switches, climb over obstacles, jump up to ledges, and perform other actions. You'll also use this button to accept incoming transmissions. Hit square to fire. Your likelihood of hitting your target increases the closer you are, the more directly you face the target, and the longer you stand still.
And you'll
If you are weapons
notice,
training,
or maybe you
should be able to
wouldn't,
take on a battalion of terrorists,
this
but
training
always
video
remember
is
the
from the
first
North
rule of combat
American
game.
release.
Sometimes it's smarter to
For
run
whatever
than
reason,
fight.
it wasn't included in the
When
PAL
you need
region.
cover from enemy fire or better aim to hit a target, kneel by holding X. You can also use X with the D-pad to crouch and walk.
It's a
This
strange thing
maneuver
to
will keep
omit,
you
but
silent and out of sight, perfect for stealth missions, and you can also use it to climb down over ledges. Hit the circle button to roll. This is an excellent defensive move that can keep you one step ahead of an enemy's fire.
And you can
also
even
use
see
the
that
D-pad
weird
to
stuff
control
on
the
there,
direction of your
on the
roll.
top right
R1 is
of
your
the
target
corner
lock
of the
button.
screen on
Hit it,
theirs.
and a
I guess
targeting
that's some kind
cursor
of
will draw
debug
itself
information.
around
I
the
wonder if
next
there's
enemy.
any way to
Hold it,
activate
and the
that
camera will always point
without
towards
cheating
that enemy,
devices.
allowing you to aim and fire at him no matter what you're doing. Master the skill if you want to live. Strafe by holding L2 or R2. If you're good, you can also use the D-pad at the same time to maneuver through any tight spots.
But yeah, this
A few
isn't
closing
like
bits of
tool
advice.
assisted or
If
anything
you're
like
outnumbered,
that.
run. If
It
you're
is me
unnoticed,
playing.
sneak.
I just
And
took
if you've got the
advantage
shot,
of
take it.
save
Make yourself
states,
an
and
easy
you'll
target for
notice
those
some of them,
terrorists, and you wind up
especially
dead.
as it gets later, they're real obvious. And here's where it's starting. It's still going to run through the cutscene,
When does the operation begin?
Our intelligence
just as we
within the
set up
FBI was
the
not clear,
glitch,
but
which I'll
Romer's
get
men
into
are
that right
already
now.
inside the subway.
Is it the same virus?
Yes, enough to
As you can
eliminate
see, a
everyone
mission
within
starts with the
100 miles
briefing,
or more.
and then it goes into one of these
Procedure?
cutscenes, and then after
Standard
this, there's
intercept
going to
and
be,
eliminate. These are from
you know,
our
like an
contact
in-game
inside
pre-rendered
Interpol.
cutscene where you're getting
Jenkins'
another
team is
briefing onto
already
the
on
mission
search
you're
and
about to
defuse.
play.
You are the trigger.
I recognize
But on
Anton
some
Gerdau
missions,
and
there
Ma
is no
Aramov.
cinematic like
Who's the
this.
other
It just
one?
goes straight from the
Pavel
briefing
Kravich,
into the game.
Romer's communications
And
expert.
in those
When
missions,
you
you can hold
eliminate him, you'll also
circle
have to destroy
as
his
the
comm
mission is
uplink.
fading in, and it'll roll you
You'll be dropped
prematurely
into
into the
strike zone
stage,
when the firefight
letting you
begins.
act like a second
You'll
before
have
the
an
stage
hour
wants
to
you
find your
to.
targets and take them out.
Even longer if it's got
Do
like
the
a really
locals
long
know what they're dealing with?
cutscene.
No.
So like even here, just mashing the X button, you wouldn't be able to get out of it until after the car blows up. So right there, you'd be able to start running.
Gerdau is on level 2. No location
But what you'll see me do here, whenever you sit through one of these
I'm on my
cutscenes for
way.
some reason, the in-game ones, it lets you skip the next pre-rendered FMV completely for some reason. So what you do is you watch all of that, and then you quit the game, start a new game, and start your timer right here. Which I'm gonna try to run the timer anyway. Hopefully I don't fall behind on it. I don't know why it's not going. There we go. And yeah, you could see me start moving, whoops. Sorry, I was trying to move my timer out of the way on my other screen, but it's like locked into place, so no bother.
Cover me.
So yeah, let me throw on this soundtrack real quick. Everything's running on my computer, so you might notice a little stuttering.
I've taken out Kravitz and destroyed the comm equipment, but I don't see their uplink dish.
I'll trace it.
So yeah, nothing too unusual. The main thing was that starting glitch, and then the pattern in the bank. If you've seen other people do the speed run, you'll notice them stop at the corridor right before the exit. And yeah, there might be some music coming in here in a second, so yeah, don't mind the sounds if you start picking up on it. And there's a bunch of logic to it, and it plays into the park missions. There's a lot of logic revolving those bomb objectives. Because there's a set time, there's like a universal timer that they're working off of. But then it also factors in the number of NPCs, the ones you've killed, and then just the overall time. Well, yeah, that would be the universal time, and then the time that it takes CBDC to get there, disarm the bombs, and of course their health.
Copy. They're on their way.
So it's a lot of subtle stuff. And it plays a big part going into the park stage with all the bombs there. In particular, the second bomb where you have to kill the 6 guys before it gives you the checkpoint. I don't really know the logic at work, but I always kill the first guy with my back turned to the rest of the bank. And then I try to step onto like the second gray tile after that. And that's usually enough for me to turn around and have both guys spawn. If both of the guys spawn out of the back of the bank, I always just kill the one that doesn't run towards CBDC, and then I turn around to exit, and there's usually another guy spawning in right there. Killing him too, with the 3 of them total, usually allows me to force the checkpoint early and run out without having to wait, which saves about 3 seconds of literally just standing there waiting for the checkpoint. Oh, I missed the timer. It's fine though. It's really just to see like what the difference is with each stage to stage.
That should be all the C4 you need to blow open that passage.
So there's still more to figure out with that now that I'm understanding it a lot better, but I don't think there's any way to do the first one faster, but there's definitely ways to do the ones in the park faster. Reviewing this stitch in comparison with like third and first place, I've already seen a few things that I was doing differently that costed me a second or two, and then experimenting with those got me experimenting with a whole bunch of other stuff, which is usually just how it goes with this.
CBDC is on their way in.
Leon, I found the gas main. I'm shutting it down.
I might turn the music up just a little bit. I'm just, I'm worried about the copyright and stuff. But it's video game music, so it might not be able to tell the difference, especially with the sound effects and my talking over it, but... And yeah, I'm still having really choppy internet because I still don't have my router set up. They were never able to get it sent to the right address, so... Still running off a hotspot, which is less than optimal. The skip right there as well with the gas main, I don't seem to have any kind of issue with at all anymore either. I have found it has to do with like the angle that you approach it and, how long you take before you go down. And there's another instance right there. You saw me just roll right into that headshot. That's because that mission goes straight from the briefing to the in-game cinematic. There's no FMV. And it's actually critical for the headshot too, because otherwise she gets too far ahead. It's not impossible to still headshot her anyway, but if you don't get it pretty much perfectly, she runs off. Whereas doing it that way, you have time to set up and aim while she's still actually running towards the position she's going to be in. Oh, I forgot it again because it was so short. So yeah, in particular, this one right here. Where I'm standing right there is actually costing me a couple of seconds. I could be standing on the opposite side of the sidewalk a few steps closer to that dude. And I found that that was literally costing me about 2 or 3 seconds compared to everybody else. And it's one of those things that I never would have even thought of. Because it never made sense. Even comparing other runs to like first and second place, I would see myself do this just as fast, if not faster, than some of the other times. But, you see the little... Oh, you don't actually. I won't be able to show you, because the syphonfilter logo's covering it. But there's the radar with the timer. I always hit this checkpoint after clearing these guys out at around the 18:15 mark. And that'll be even if I got there faster relative to some other runs. And I couldn't figure out, relative to this stage where I was losing like those 3 or 4 seconds, and it came from that one singular objective. I can save 2 seconds off that. Because everybody else, they're hitting their checkpoint around right here, that 18:20 mark, and on mine it's here, about 5 seconds difference. In this particular run, that other second or so came from me probably just hitting against the wall on the way over there, and then you notice me kind of like crouching and wiggling a little bit before the bomb. I missed that roll. Right, so you factor in that mistake plus the fact that I was just positioning myself wrong, that makes up for about the 4 or 5 seconds by itself. So it's good review stuff for sure, but there's probably still improvement with those given all the logic with NPCs. I'll get more into that though, especially getting into like the catacombs and the bunker and all that. Yeah, the video's chopping pretty bad. I don't see why. I'm holding at a pretty good, consistent like 2 megs upload a second. Should be fine enough for this resolution, but...
CBDC has the signal. They're on their way. Stand by.
This is one I want to figure out really well too. Because you can get up to 2 guys to spawn behind you on there. You kill him and then you kill that 4th guy and you're done. I could already be running my way out. I could be about 5 or 6 steps ahead of where I am already. And I've been able to force this checkpoint as late as about right there in those cases, but I haven't found out a way to make that second guy consistently spawn. It's the exact same logic as the bank. It's a matter of angling it, positioning myself going into it so that it spawns enough people. And now look at this one. Normally everybody else would kill the CBDC guy holding him hostage way further back, but I like to get way ahead. The reason being is that if, you know, you shoot them early, CBDC starts running ahead of you. But if you look at my radar, which I guess you can't, damn, I wish I could take that off. There we go. Yeah, if you look at my radar, you still see the blue blip right there.
Don't destroy the dish. We need it to find the trigger man.
Leon.
By this point, it would have already disappeared because they'd be so far ahead. But because they're running through the maze, that holds them in place just long enough that they don't despawn, which means I'll meet them at the tail end of this stage. And the reason why that's important is because that gives you an NPC at the end of the stage to kill in the same way that you would kill Mara at the end of the Dinorama stage, which was an already established trick. There's some dialogue at the end of it that just runs on and the stage doesn't end until it's over. But if you kill Mara, it gets replaced with Leon saying, "We needed Mara alive." That cuts the dialogue short and it flags the next stage to load faster. Same thing here. Instead of all this other stuff,
CBDC, I failed.
you get tell CBDC I failed, and then boom, there's the end of the stage. When the rain stops, it saves like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue. And see, I got that by accident one time.
Talker do. I hope Romer's paying you enough to...
I was running through this stage one time, and by circumstance, that just happened to happen. I was in the habit already of sneak rolling up to CBDC.
Gabe, are you alright?
He's finished.
So I figured I could save the time that it takes to kill the first guy and then kill the second guy by just rolling past everybody the same way that I did on the base, which is where I figured out you could do that. And then one time, it happened a couple of times where CBDC followed me all the way over there, which I thought was funny. It was like a neat thing, but it wouldn't have been until like the 3rd or 4th time that I thought to put those two ideas together. Like, why can't I just kill him the way I do Mara? And then I did, it worked, and I kind of blew my own mind with that one. So that saves about 2 seconds at the end of that dialogue, and even then, sneaking past with the continuous rolls saves like the second that it takes to stop and aim and headshot the first guy anyway. So it saves a consistent amount of time altogether. And you notice that I'm always palette swapping, and it's specifically for stuff like this. You roll differently with a one-handed or a two-handed weapon.
What are you doing
So it's very critical for these sorts of things. I'm palette swapped into the HK5, so it's basically an M16. That gives me a two-handed roll, so I can position myself and then get the rapid-fire headshot. And my whole playstyle is centered around palette swapping because I basically always want to be two-handed. I always want to have the two-handed roll because it's critical for the continuous roll. You can't do that with a one-handed roll. I guess you technically can, but it's a shorter and slower roll. Whereas the running roll basically maintains full speed. But because it's not really running, it treats it as continuous sneaking. So it's a good way to sneak at full speed. It's what I do to get through the base, and it's how I get that headshot on the CBDC agents while ignoring the first dude. A lot of that comes into play later on too, especially towards the end, going into the silo and into the speedrun. I don't think it really is critical anywhere else though, just in the base, but we'll get there in a little bit. I think it's faster to like hit a maneuver back down the ramp. It saves like a second, but I don't quite have the hang of that. Another thing with the auto aim too, especially when you're trying to do something like auto aim the switch here like you're about to see me do, that sort of thing seems to work better with a two-handed as well, like the free aim is more responsive. Same thing with like holding a targeted shot and like trying to strafe and shoot somebody at an angle or behind you, especially as you're running in another way. That doesn't seem to be really possible with a one-handed. But again, it's all about the roll, that continuous rolling you see me doing. Palette swapping is of course also critical to a few glitches at certain points of the speedrun, but that'll be not till the base as well. So that checkpoint too, this is a really rough one, because that's the last checkpoint before you end this stage. And there's a pretty easy chance to die. I've gotten really unlucky going down this elevator. Sometimes the guy down below is really aggressive and starts aiming at you from like the very top, and once you get off, he'll like already be shooting at you a bunch. But that's an uncommon occurrence. That's just bad luck. It's really these guys here at the end. Once you get past this section onto the ramp, a good safety strat is to get the KG-34 at the end of this hallway that I'm about to run down. But that takes too much time, so I just skip it on the left and go down the thing. There was your stitch right there, and I found that shimmying a little bit helps to correct this one dude, because as you can see, he likes to get in your way to keep you from getting up there. And even if that takes a little time, it seems to be pretty safe enough at least. And it still saves time compared to yeah, getting the other gun and then having to stop and shoot them.
The entrance to the
Check.
And that's like a 2-minute difference already. Not really a lot of room for optimization here. This is a very short stage. Good rolling and strafing can help you out, like with the dog rolls, as I call them, which is basically just like a coyote jump in a platformer. If you've ever played like Donkey Kong Country or something similar, it's like how you can trigger a roll at the very last step of, you know, a ledge, and it'll still retain that momentum and carry you forward even with no ground below you. That's literally exactly how rolling off of a ledge in Syphonfilter works. Except they just stack all the momentum in this game. So every new source of momentum stacks on top of every, you know, pre-existing source of momentum. So if you do a really, really good dog roll, it will take the momentum of your forward roll, the initial momentum, and it'll pair it with the secondary push on top of the momentum from falling. Because there's an initial push of momentum whenever you start the roll, when you're kicking down, and then as Gabe is getting back onto his feet, right, when he's on his back and his legs are kicking from the air down to the ground, that's another separate second push of momentum. So it's like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 right there relative to how he's rolling.
Found a fuel tank.
So if you can time your rolls to where he falls off at the same time that he's kicking his legs down, those two momentums will stack and he'll just like rocket. You'll see a few instances of that, like in the Stronghold especially. And as you can see, I go for the stealth trick. Third place also goes for stealth, I didn't realize until more recently. But they go by way of shooting the guys. The reason why I eventually got the hang of doing that too, doing some practice on my own. But the reason why I didn't go for it is because they still always spawn that other guy on the bridge. It's supposed to be that first guy, right? Like when he hears you, he's supposed to walk down the stairs, but I guess instead of programming a dynamic routine to like some nobody-ass NPC, they just split it between two. I guess the idea is the first one's supposed to disappear, or the guy's not supposed to spawn if you kill the first one, but it doesn't really work out that way. And my way's not really any slower. I specifically shot that one dude with the PK-102 as well, because if you get to that point while you're still in stealth mode, it spawns some people on the other side of the gate, and you know, it's no good. So I like to hit an alert before I go down and make that turn, because then that dude never spawns, and it's a clear path like this. Now this here can be tricky without the combat shotgun. You don't get the combat shotgun because it would make noise to pick it up and you would ruin your stealth, but... So what I do after I hit the grenade glitch, which that's your necessary pallet swap for this stage. You pallet swap into the grenade so you can just hit the switch from a distance. You'll do the same thing in the blackouts tunnels. Or no, in the silo access tunnels before the blackout. But while I'm still in the pallet swapped thing, then I just go and get the checkpoint as you saw, and then I turn around and throw one of those fake grenades. You just first person aim and shoot while you're pallet swapped that way. If you're lucky, it'll kill all three. It usually, with good timing, it usually kills the back two, but you're always going to have to worry about the one dude. And then this part's always tricky, but you can save a little health by doing the pause trick right there. I always go off of those shadows. It's like the third little bump against the wall. And right here you can hold circle too, but I forgot during the run. So you can get a premature roll before he even says Leon and be like 2 steps ahead on this one as well. You'll see me do it on the base escape and on Stronghold 2 though. And this one you gotta be good at your interact skips. Thankfully that's probably my strongest suit on here. The reason being, not to, you know, give away too many secrets, I guess. It's, you know... Oh, that's no good. It's inherent to my playstyle, but it's just the strafing. You can strafe into it a little easier. But it's a matter of how well you can incorporate strafing into movement. If you have to stop and turn just to strafe into it, then you're not really saving a whole lot of time. But if you know how to wiggle around about it the way that I already do, then that's the way to do it. Same thing with most interactions and ledge grabs and all that. It's easier to strafe into it. And it has to do with that same logic. It's like the radius of interaction, right? The cone that Gabe Logan has for viewing and interacting with something. It's like there's a separate cone for whenever you're strafing, and if you happen to be doing both at the same time, it like focuses on the area in between and amplifies it. So instead of giving you like a narrow cone in front of you or a narrow cone to the side of you, it takes like the outer edge of each and it makes that your radius. So whenever you're going at like an interactable object from an angle, it gives you the... Right, imagine the entire radius in front of me where the gun is pointing and everything left to Gabe or right of Gabe. You know, where his shoulder is, that entire like quarter circle is your radius for interaction. So that's, once you understand that and can maneuver into it properly.
Leon, I check.
Turn up the video a little bit. Yeah, you could make things a lot easier right there. I wasn't able to one-cycle this. You pause and unpause to skip the dialogue, because otherwise you have to listen to Romer talking shit and Leon screaming on the phone. So yeah, no one cycle. So so that could still be faster. But it's not too hard past this point. Ugh, the lag on the stream is killing me, but oh well. And see, hold circle. There's your premature roll. This one there's no dialogue, it's just the camera panning into Gabe anyway, but it still saves a second. And then this is a good fire skip as well. The way I do it is you don't need a visual confirmation, it's just positioning. I always grab it at the same place, which means it's always going to be the same, you know, button sequence to get off of it and land in the same place. That was the first thing I tried to learn with a lot of the speedrunning tricks. That was one of the first tricks that I focused on, was that fire skip. But it was all by way of, like, button sequencing. You know, I wanted to understand, like, the exact action so I wouldn't have to think about it or look at anything.
My God. Syphon filter.
One more.
Check.
I mean, you got to see most of the roll on the stream at least. And then here's another palette swap, and there's that momentum stacking. Look at how far I went flying with just with the two-handed roll right there. Same thing too at the end of the stage.
I found the first group. Right.
Because the stage loops you around that entire area. The stage technically ends. The building that you start on is the building where the stage ends on. That's where the elevator down to the lower level is. So you'll eventually come back around that other side, and when you're going into there, you know, you've got to climb out of the window and then go down the area to climb back up to the ramp, because if you try to just jump down, you die. But I found that you can, with these stacked momentum dog rolls, like I said, you can just fly from the window ledge to the top part of the railing and save you the time of going down and back up. And it's pretty easy once you get the positioning and, again, the button sequence. But you'll see that at the end of this stage. Also, I prefer to do interact skips with the shotgun. I believe it's like 5th or 6th place. Or it's like 4th place who also favors the shotgun. Which makes sense, especially in this stage. It's better than using the vaccine, and then you don't run the risk of burst shooting the patients. That's easier with the lock-on. I realized I would always just go for the random free aim, and it would never quite work. And the trick with these two is to not be afraid of the gas clouds either. They're a lot smaller than they look once you understand, you know, the area that they cover. And more importantly, the proximity of pickups is very generous, so you don't really have to get too close to the card key to pick it up. And yeah, I like this part. Look at this. Switch into the gas grenades to avoid landing lag, and then you hit the pallet swap on the climb up. And then with the one-handed roll, land on a crouch. And you can start shooting right out of the ledge skip as well. You don't have to finish the ledge skip and then aim again. Once you've got your leg up, you can just press the button and then shoot to throw your grenade. Which, the way the grenade glitch works, you have to pallet swap into an automatic firing weapon like the PK-102 or shotgun from a no-handed weapon, I call it. So like a grenade or a card key or some other object. And you can't shoot, you can't do anything else while you're like that, but if you shoot the automatic weapon in first person, it throws a grenade for some reason. And I guess it has to do with like index memory and such. If you've already used a gas grenade, which you do early on to kill that first group of scientists, that overrides the grenade data, and so yeah, that overrides the grenade data, and you end up throwing a gas grenade instead of a regular explosive grenade. Same thing too, whenever we start Stronghold 2, you'll see me throw a gas grenade immediately at the first dude, and that's just to set up that data for the gas grenade glitch later on. Because you do a lot of that in Stronghold 2. Stronghold 2 might be like my best stage at this point though. You saw how he kind of flew off of the ramp right there? That happens a lot on those ramps with me, but that's because I finally learned the angle to go at him from. And you can see the distance that I get with some of those rolls, especially right here. Look at this. And here comes the big one. Strafing and angling is good too. That's how I'm able to get these camera angles. Run backwards basically sometimes. You'll see a lot of that in the catacombs. But you go for the interact skip and then you climb up the ledge more towards the right hand side. Your left hand should be touching like that black circle spot. Right there in the middle. Boom. And then watch me just fly across. And no more having to go down and back up. But you gotta have that momentum down. And here you see me roll and pallet swap during the roll into the gas grenades. The idea is so that I can roll into the elevator and do the pause trick, but I always miss it. That, of course, is also easier with a two-handed weapon. But you can premature roll right here, and then I go straight into the gas grenade. So boom, now the gas grenade is indexed. You'll hear that dude choke to death. Killed his best friend Kyle. And then here's some more like NPC manipulation. You make noise going down the hall to draw the scientist out. The older, less optimized strat was to go over there and then like throw a grenade or something and have him run down and die, but this way keeps you from having to run there and you just kill him on the way back down. These guys usually never spawn for me anymore, but in this case they did, but I found that you can just ignore them anyway. So if it's only the one guy at least, you can just go up there, set up your gas grenade, reset the danger meter, and you're good to get the fuck out as always. This part's tricky, but I hit it with the same trick right there. Switch back to the grenade, pallet swap on the ledge grab, and that sets me up for these next couple of kills. There's sometimes a dude in a robe that spawns on the corner of there. In the case that he shows up, you would just throw a gas grenade all the same, and he's always in the exact same position, which means that the gas grenade always hits the same spot. And as long as you hug the wall going in there, it'll never kill you. Holding square is the same thing as pressing triangle as soon as you touch the right object, so as soon as I touch the test subject holding square, it answers the call, and then go for the interact skip. It's probably negligible, but it's just, you know, like a millisecond or so faster than having to stop and press triangle for the call. Just holding square up to it with the vaccine. It works fine enough. I realized that in the bunker stage with the tankers and the C4. Because I hit that first tanker a very specific way too. You have to like roll in between where the guy is walking and, you know, the doorway into that next area. Because as soon as you cross that threshold, as soon as you step foot in it, Leon calls you. And I realized, you know, holding square on the C4 to immediately do the interact on it, if I crossed the threshold while holding square, it would answer the phone call because it would be close enough to the tanker to act as a triangle press. And the game can't differentiate, so neat little factoid, I guess. Same thing there. If the guys don't shoot you by the while you're crossing that rail, by the time you've climbed up the other set of railings, you want to pop your gun at least once or twice to get the scientist to start moving. You can kill him just as easily anyway, but that position is just a lot easier to hit. You don't have to readjust yourself as much to aim at him while he's on the side, because otherwise he'll just be walking casually in the other corner of the room. A little more NPC manipulation here, as this guy, you want to make sure you touch him on the way out. If you don't actually make contact with him, he doesn't stop. Which isn't the worst thing, but it's not as easy. You'll notice as well that if you strafe into the interact skips with the trunks, that it also forces you in front of them. Or same thing with like Syphon filter patients, it straightens you out facing the direction that you approached them from. That's very important for maneuvering, because it means you can come at them from one side at an angle, interact with them, and then be immediately repositioned, you know, so that you can strafe out of it or something like that without having to turn around from one angle or another. It's very useful stuff, but it comes in handy especially at the very end of the speedrun when you have to get the gas grenades to kill Roamer. Those guys guarding it can be a real problem, because it's two guys with like Biz 102s just, or Biz 32s, whatever, just ready to kill you. So being able to come at those gas grenades from the side and then interact with them, get repositioned in front of them, and then turn that into like a strafing side roll, like the kind you saw me do to get the fire skip and the base escape. It's very important, you know, understanding that instant like repositioning. It's easier with trunks because you know you're going to be put in front of them. But you got to be a little more careful when you're interacting with like Syphon filter patients and doing it, because, you know, it might put you in front of their shoulder, or it might put you behind their back when you wanted to be at their shoulder. And we're about to come to the catacombs here. So give me just a second, and I'll continue commentary.
Security has been breached. Roma has ordered the...
All of Romer's...
Check.
Alright, and see, this one was a pretty big realization for me as well. Because as you saw, right, the stage started, I skipped through the dialogue, got a head start on killing that one dude. Right, so no big deal, no nothing, right? Here's the thing though, everybody else waits out the cutscene. The main reason being that because you have to wait for this guy regardless to get to Fagin's door for the next area to start, whether you start it the way that I did or whether you wait for the cinematic to finish, he's going to be in the same position regardless. Which is why I never paid much attention to it, but then I noticed something that I couldn't get my finger around. So what happens is, to your left right there, where I just passed on the other side of that hallway, there's a door. And that's the door where Fagin is being held. Once he gets there, it fades to black, and it plays a little cutscene, you know, Fagin's, you know, saying please, and then and then usually right there it lets you skip through it, and then you're in the next part of the stage where you are escorting Fagin to where Leon is supposed to be. You know, he's leading you there. For everybody else, it skips that little cutscene and it goes straight into Fagin saying, "Follow me." Turns out the reason is because everybody else watches the cutscene, and it's just like that glitch that I explained earlier. Because see how it's a cinematic FMV? If you watch the pre-rendered cutscene in its entirety first, it lets you skip that one just like the first stage setup. You saw the gas grenade kills those first two guys, and then strafing against the wall lets me peek and shoot those dudes. That's a really good way to do it. This part is troublesome though. You can already see how long it takes just to follow that guy up to this point. And then the thing with Fagin is he runs a very particular path and he stops for everything. He stops for enemies, he stops if you touch him. Lights right now, man. It lagged during that cool-ass headshot. But it's just a matter of knowing the path and knowing where Fagin is going to cross, not headshotting him there, as I've done many, many times in that exact same spot. And then this part is particular too. The way that I did it is basically exactly how you have to do it. You have to face the directions that I faced and did everything, otherwise it affects the spawns in the area so drastically that it starts spawning people downstairs and all this, which will keep Fagin from going down the stairs, and it slows you down so much. You've got to be able to control spawns and take care of enemies right away. He stops right there because there's a dude in the corridor right behind us that we passed. But he'll continue running anyway, and then he should always ignore this guy, but if you've got the time, kill him anyway. He usually never ignores that guy, so you gotta kill him, and it's just little things like that. You eventually learn who he can ignore, who he won't ignore, or who will be problematic for you, who might deal too much damage to you and lead to you dying in the next segment. It takes a lot, especially since it's such a confusing layout, but once you get it, and right here, you look at how much of like the sideways strafing and all that I'm doing, that seems to affect a lot of logic as well. Normally Fagin would stop with that guy, but because I bumped into him first, he didn't. And then coming at all these backwards angles, it seems to despawn people who otherwise would have stopped Fagin in his tracks. There's supposed to be a guy right there down that corridor that Fagin never walks past.
That's her cell. You're on your own.
A guy spawns with a flak jacket and a shotgun. But because I wasn't facing that way, neither him or the other guy spawned, so Fagin just kept hauling ass. And then because I came in up to this door at an angle, no one ever spawned there either. So with all those things in mind, if I can get the path ingrained better into my mind, I can despawn all of these problematic, all of these problematic NPCs anyway, and not really even have to worry about them. And then Leon is a lot easier. As you can see, I shot her a bunch, but the reason for that is because she's programmed otherwise to stand and fight until she reaches like a critical point of health, and then she runs away. So you want to get her down to that point so that she never stops to shoot these fools, because she will otherwise. Same thing too, you cannot touch either of them. You can't touch Fagin, you can't touch Leon, because they'll stop dead in their tracks. You can't stray too far from her while she's running. You can't get too far ahead of her if you already know which way to go. But as for the whole touching NPCs thing, that kind of works to your benefit as well, because it'll work on regular ass NPCs. So if you make sure to like whoopsie bump somebody's shoulder or ankles on your way to this place or that place, that could greatly affect the dynamics of like the next few seconds, the next few loading zones, you know. If the game expects this one guy to start shooting and alert these other guys to do this, but he didn't because you bumped into his shoulder and, you know, he got confused and turned around to look at you, just in that split second, that can throw off spawns, that can throw off, you know, whatever else. And you pair that with all the nonsense that comes with, you know, running while facing a different direction and so on and so forth. There's a lot of stuff by way of like NPC protocol that can still be exploited with the speedrun, I think.
Damn!
please.
Gabe, with both.
And yeah, you can kill Leon in the same way, but I don't think that actually saves any time.
Erickson, move.
Who are you? What do you want?
I'll ask them.
So yeah, and at this point it's just more of the same. The NPCs are more dangerous than ever, but the stages themselves aren't too hard. A lot of the other ones demand more specifically challenging things as far as the environment goes. This one not so much, it's just like, you gotta be on your game or else these wild mobs of dudes will kill you. Another good dog roll. You could see me already off the ledge by the time that the roll was already kicking off. Oh man, this stream. You'll need the grenades for later on. And then here's the big one for me. The current strat, as most people would do it, would be to go down this corridor on the right and get the KG-34 for all the flakjacket enemies. But as you can see, skipped all that. Another slower and safer strat as well is to grab the M79 at an earlier point of this stage, but, you know, right after you get Erickson or whatever his name is. We're not gonna worry. I don't like that strat though. It's mostly for the end of Blackout. There's this guy with the shotgun, and then of course like the mob of 3 or 4 guys at the end blocking the silo, who are very problematic. And you know, a grenade launcher cleans them up right away. Or just the KG. You want to kill them on the way running up to the silo, but I don't have either one. I don't have the KG or the grenade launcher. But I follow the same logic. I run at him at an angle because there seems to be different, different criteria for spawning NPCs or triggering their actions. You'll see it right here as well, because I didn't kill the guys in gray. They technically are still alive down in this corridor, but because I strafed down it at a side, you can hear their footsteps, but they don't start shooting until right there. Because if you notice, I fuck up my continuous roll and actually take like a step, which is enough for them to hear me. They should have been able to see me, they were facing that way, but because I didn't properly spawn them in, even though we could hear their footsteps, they couldn't see me. But they can still hear me, which is why the roll is important. Otherwise, they would have seen me. If I had just been running straight, they would have spawned in a lot earlier. They would have seen me immediately and started shooting from like 10 steps back, which would have been more than enough time for that danger meter to fill up enough to be an actual problem.
Leon, I found shipping manifest for parts. Leon, check.
And you'll see more of it here as well. The path that I run to get to this viral tagger, everybody else would run like the opposite side because there's no NPCs there. I go on the side where there are NPCs, but I can ignore them because I'm not looking at them. And as long as I don't make noise too early, they won't hear me. So right here, I just never actually fully turn this other way. So right there where those two dudes conversating would spawn, they don't spawn until I'm like right there. And I found that touching that one guy by accident, but it forces him to start shooting faster. Otherwise, he would start shooting like a few steps later, and then that would be the end of it. But if he starts shooting as soon as you bump into him, it forces the guy with the grenades to spawn earlier, and I guess that makes him kill the guy that would normally pop up on the other side of this dumpster. There's normally a guy standing right there that gets some shots in, but that corrects the problem with him. He seems to show up whenever he wants anyway, but as you can see, you can just juke him. Same thing here, you want to get real sharp with your interact skips and go straight into the shots, but I don't think I did. You can as well though. It's a little thing, but it saves you that half second every time. This objective took me a while to realize what I was doing wrong, and it was just because I wasn't killing this guy. I would never actually kill him after he threw that first grenade, so he'd throw a second one and I'd die. I also can't get him to kill both guys with the grenade for some reason. The reason you want to do that more so than anything is because this is the last checkpoint before the stage ends, and if worse comes to worse with these enemies coming up, and you die, you don't want to have to kill those dudes over every time. You want them to be dead from the grenade. And now see this hallway, this corridor is where you'd want the KG-344 for the first couple of dudes. But see, I spawned that dude in late so that he doesn't get far ahead of me. Because if he gets too far ahead, then you gotta worry about killing him. But if you spawn him in late, you can touch him as soon as he starts running and he'll stop, and then you can get ahead of him and you can ignore him once you get past the boxes and only headshot everybody else, which isn't a problem. But even compared to like somebody else running with the KG-34, the headshots only take me like an additional 2 seconds versus like the 12 to 15 seconds that it takes to get the KG-34. Same thing with some headshots coming up in Blackout. And stuff like that, it only saves me similarly like another 3 or 4 seconds there. So worst case scenario, I save like 5 seconds. Another rolling start, and Warehouse 76 is actually really easy, it's just really scary. Because it's just that one fire skip. This next one is the easiest of all of them. You just climb on the ledge, and then without moving at all, you do a one-handed standing roll, and then immediately go into a crouch. But you can't move. If you move at all, like the actual directional buttons are strafing, you'll burn to death. Same thing with the fire skip, with the base escape. It's really scary, but you just have to commit to it. If you don't commit and you hesitate and try to like correct it, you burn to death. But if you just go straight into it, it's just like boom. It's not even a full flak jacket. And you want to wait for the elevator to go down a little bit and then land on it, because it starts bugging out the camera and then it just fades to black. Otherwise, you have to sit on like a 5-second long elevator ride where Leon's talking about NATO and FEMA and all this shit. And then again, a rolling start here. And you can just ignore these dudes, but I've had it be a problem where this guy blocks the path, but I don't know what triggers it. Get the headshot early before that dude spawns. And then you can actually be real generous here. You have to hit triangle before Leon calls, but you can be pretty far away from it, especially if you strafe into the, you know, into the ledge. This place right here, I really should just be able to kill the guys with the BIS 32. I shouldn't even have to headshot them or need the KG. I just haven't practiced it as much, so I'm not too good at it. I think you just run and free aim. So that would correct like the 2 seconds that I'm losing on these headshots just by blasting them. Like how you do this guy. I think my problem is that I'm target locking. If I just free aim while like wiggling with my strafes, that should be enough to do it. Same thing with him, I don't have to headshot him, I can just shoot him while crossing the bridge. So right here, I'll do another pallet swap. But this one specifically goes into the PK-102. So that way I can scroll forward into the shotgun and then pallet swap into the BIS 32 two-handed. So get to around where the third red light is, and then angle the shot kind of down so the grenade bounces. Otherwise it won't go far enough. Switch to two-handed, pallet swap it, turn around, drop down, turn around, and then dog roll across. And then headshotting these dudes isn't too bad, but at the end of this tunnel there's another mob of 3, and you just have to run past them, and you have to be pretty much perfect with those guys, because if you hesitate even a little bit, you're almost completely guaranteed to die. It's a very aggressive, fast-acting mob. You don't have to do like the strafing, you don't have to do the weird camera angle, but that helps a lot. Same thing here too. At the very end of the stage, before you get to the control room, that's another really tough mob of enemies that you would want the KG-34 for, or the grenade launcher for. But again, we can mitigate having to kill those guys by just running sideways. So right here, I'm already turning the camera. I already know effectively how the road curves, so it's no big deal. And the thing is, they spawn regardless, but this forces them to spawn at the last possible second, which means they start taking aim and everything too late to actually really be a threat. And they'll never catch up in here, so it's fine. I can ignore them and still end the stage with full health. And Blackout's probably the toughest stage of the whole thing. Just because you only get the one checkpoint after you drop down. Premature roll, drop down. Weapon toggle to avoid landing lag, and then pallet swap on the way down back to a two-handed BIS 32. And I don't mind headshotting these guys just to preserve the flak jacket. So yeah, that's your only checkpoint. If you fail, you have to do pretty much the whole stage over again, minus the dropping down from the fire part. So it's something at least, right? But it's something horrible. Well yeah, none of these guys should be too bad. You'd probably want a headshot like these last couple of dudes together anyway. As well as the guy on the bottom of the thing. And this ledge is real sloppy, so even if you try to walk backwards, it's still very easy to fall and die, so it's just safest to climb down. But you can technically get down there a little bit faster. There's even ways to roll down there that won't kill you, but it's very, very unpractical. And that's coming from me who, has spent all my time mastering this. And now here's the big one. Here's that corridor that I'm talking about, but you're about to watch me do all that rolling stuff. So these guys, with my perfect rolling, they won't even notice me until I've bumped into them. Take the momentum boost onto the bridge, and then continuous roll with no landing lag. And then see, I changed the camera angle to keep the guys in front of the silo from spawning. You gotta go around the left side of the dude with the grenade, and then roll to the right side of the mob. And then your pause trick saves you some damage. And there's the stage.
Leon, I found the elevator down to the...
Without having to kill those dudes or worry about getting the M79 or the KG-34. And then here's the last one.
Leon?
I still don't have this trick completely down. You want to go somewhere on the left side, and doing it right, that grenade that he throws will kill both people on the bottom level. But it's enough to just kill the guy on the ground, especially if you do what I'm about to do. The guy on the ground is dead, and then the guy can be mostly ignored, the guy on the ledge, but especially if you run backwards like I did, he won't spawn or be able to shoot you until the very last second, at which point it's meaningless. And right there, I did not pallet swap, and that's very intentional. Because right here, you notice how he drops kind of. Whenever you pallet swap, for some reason, I guess it's such a fast interaction that it throws off the positioning for it. It makes him fall from a slightly farther height whenever the game fades back in. And it makes enough of a difference that you can't make it into the closing door with the roll the way that you need to skip it. Because the way you want to do it is you don't want to roll into it, you want to roll as you're going into it. That way your roll actually, because what it does is it like teleports you into the center and has you stand there. But if it already read the roll, then once it teleports you, it'll teleport you mid-roll and you roll back out the way you saw me do. Because otherwise you have to wait there for the rocket to shoot off. And same thing right there. Look at all the sideways maneuvering. This is all very intentional. If I hadn't have rolled in there sideways, that scientist would have started running a lot faster and I wouldn't have been able to kill him. That dude with the shotgun would have been able to shoot me. And now look at this. Here's the trick with the box I told you about. You can come at it from the side and then boom. Just get positioned for your roll anyway.
Leon, I made it. I'm triggering the missile's
Makes it actually pretty easy at that point, but...
Logan! Logan!
So yeah, that hypothetical then puts me at like 42 seconds below first place, 32
First,
below
we
second,
get the lab guy started on this disc and your vaccine.
and about 2 minutes
I mean,
ahead of
all of this.
third.
What's happened here? Markinson's involvement
But
with Fagin,
the
Romer,
problem isn't,
their
you know, with
plans,
the individual
the
strats and more
What's
just
it
the
all mean?
actual
I
speed
don't know.
run.
With
Even if
Markinson
I can
dead,
do
I don't know
all
if
of this
we'll ever
perfectly,
know.
if I make the same, just screwing up once in blackout the way that I always do, and then once in the museum the way that I always do, that by itself will already make up that two minute difference. It just takes 2 little mistakes like that and I'm already tied back with third place. Any minor mistake past that, like oops, I fell down this box, gotta climb up again, now I'm 2-3 seconds behind, whatever. So it's very strict. Most of the difference and most of the accommodating, it comes from, you know, some of the, you know, more drastic time saves that I implement with strategies, but mistakes, you know, are just as detrimental. The good news is that's about it. Yeah, you can choke under pressure at any time, shit still happens, but those are really the only bad areas. It's that damn, just those guys on the railing, man, at the end of the museum stage. I hate those guys. The one who likes to walk alongside you and make sure you fall especially. Ugh. But yeah, our closest time to this in actuality is still like an hour 10. So we've only ever gotten 10 minutes, as close as 10 minutes to this time. But I've already figured out a few things just in comparing this stage to like third and first place runs in ways that I haven't been able to before. But most of that is really minor stuff. It's stuff like what I was explaining earlier in the park, things to save me like a couple of seconds. But it's really good because it was, you know, seconds that I said were missing. It was time loss that I couldn't identify otherwise that finally I've been able to pinpoint. And it's such silly stuff too, so...
Well done, my dear. Well done.
Anyway, let me load up the actual game real quick. Just while I close out, I want to see some stuff on there, but it's still pretty early, so depending on how I feel in like the next hour or so, you'll probably see another stream up, and I'll probably try to actually run it one time. But let's load it up real quick. I was going to say, I think my computer's trying to load a CD-ROM off my emulator, but I don't have a CD-ROM. Well, I do actually, but Another thing too as well, apparently at about the hour mark, it can make up to like a 3-minute difference running it on a fast disk PS2. That's both in terms of like performance, the screen tearing and all that, the boosted speed that it forces the game to run at.
They are coming. Go, torch it. Burn it all.
As well as faster loading
Leave
times.
nothing. Now I will show you how I deal with informants.
So even if I can't get exactly like
With
the hour and
pleasure.
25 seconds, let's say the best I can do is like an hour 2, right? Still like a minute and a half
These are the coordinates
behind.
Ellis sent.
With the proper setup,
there.
if I can get my fastest PS2 modded to properly run my European Syphon filter, because I have it all. I just need a mod chip in my PS2 for it to run properly. That by itself, just a change in hardware,
Thanks,
could
Ellis.
make up for like
Executed.
a 2-minute
Leon,
difference in time.
You find anything?
So that's a big
Place
deal.
is torched. I don't know what they were
But of
going.
course, this also
But it wasn't
means that some of
narcotics.
these other times can
Romer
also
knew we were
optimize.
So what's our next
The
move?
only top time that actually
watch for
runs
the
it
next
on a
viral
fast disk
outbreak.
PS2
We
is
won't have to
second
wait
place,
long.
a guy named Valkyrie. And to be fair, his run could be a lot faster. His run
report
was a
was
few
clear
years
enough.
ago.
I want 2
And in
additional
the time
teams
since then, it's
assigned
been
to this.
optimized
Find
a
Romer.
good little bit.
I understand.
That dude could have come back a long time ago and
Logan is
cleaned
my
up the
best
current
agent.
number 1
What do you
time by
wanna
like a
do?
couple of minutes, so I
Nothing.
don't really
We will wait.
understand.
We will wait and see
why
what
he
he
hasn't.
can discover.
I can understand not wanting to put in too much of the effort, but for somebody who's already so good and fast at it,
Our WHO
and who's
contact
good for them to just reach first place that one time and, you know, call it at that. Oh yeah, well see, that's exactly what I was doing. And let me show you what I mean then. Because you saw the way that I did it. You notice,
Leon,
or you'll remember me
I'm on my
mentioning
way
just
to
a
the
minute
park.
ago that I was losing like 2 seconds in this stage
Right.
consistently every single time, and I could not figure out where that time loss was coming from. It was just in this first objective. So in the video you saw me hit the bomb and then run out and stand in front of this sidewalk facing, you know, behind where I'm facing now.
CBDC has the signal. They're on their way.
Hitting it like
Stand by.
this. And it still didn't work. You only have to kill that dude and then that works. But the way I noticed that third place did it, instead of standing here where I stand, they stand 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 steps this way. And I mean, even just looking at that radar timer, let's time it along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a whole 2 seconds just in a few steps. And it's probably a little more than that. But now see, while I was doing that, I don't know what this, I can't really recall the exact series of
Leon,
events in my
I'm on my
mind,
way to the park.
what it is that made me think to do it, but this seems to work even better.
Check.
Let's just see if I don't fuck it up. I tried a few other experiments with it, but nothing else seemed to work that's too restrictive, but you can also do it like this, and it seems to save the same amount of time compared to the way I was doing it before. And it's much easier.
CBDC has the signal. They're on
1,
their way.
2, 3,
Stand
4,
by.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 steps this way, answer the call,
I'm picking up an emergency.
Right.
and then you get the checkpoint like that anyway. At the very least, it's consistently faster than the way I've been doing it.
by.
Cover me.
And see, boom, I got it at the 20 mark that time too. Could have been a little faster if I hadn't have messed up all my pallet swapping. So there's the difference right there. And that's relative to the radar timer down there. I normally hit it at 18:15, whereas everybody else hit it at 18:20. So just going off of that, that seems to be just as fast as, you know, the alternate methods. Which means my way of doing it was completely the slowest. I just hadn't realized that it was that very first objective I was messing up.
CBDC has the signal.
Cover me.
Is it enough for the fourth guy to just spawn, or does he have to die too? Yeah, he's gotta die.
Gabe, you were supposed to provide cover for that agent.
And yes, so it's little stuff like that. And on this next area, I'd like to test out more of that logic. And this is a real bad checkpoint too. This makes it a problem area for the speedrun if you're still new to it. Because you gotta run all the way back. That's another part of the reason why this is the second one that you want to do, why you want to go out of your way to do this before the other ones. Because, you know, otherwise, say you did that middle one first and then went for this one, and then went for the very far one, it would just be, be a big old mess.
CBDC has the signal. They're on their way. Stand by.
Cover me.
And see, I don't get how I failed that one. That still happens sometimes, and I don't understand why. Because killing 4 people seems to be the way to do it, but... Anyway, yeah, thanks for sticking around throughout all that. I know that was just like a stitch, not the actual gameplay, but we're closer to that than it might seem. If anything, it's really just a lack of continued practice, which I'm looking to change that, but, you know, I've got to get like some living arrangements fixed first, and obviously all this issue with my internet.
CBDC has the signal. They're on their way. Stand by.
Cover me.
Is that good enough? No.
Gabe, you were supposed to provide cover for that agent.
But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and just keep an eye out in the next hour or two. And if you don't see a stream, well, I'll get to it maybe on Sunday.
CBDC has the signal. They're on their way. Stand by.
But like I said, things are going to slow down, or be just a little bit slower in the time being, just for, you know, all those reasons. But once everything is situated again, once I don't have to worry about packing stuff up and whether or not I'm going to have functional internet in the next week or two, the streams will be back up and running. And because the year is over, right, because January already passed and all this, there's no more upcoming projects. Everything is done. It's just all the stuff in the background. So as far as streaming goes, I'll probably keep doing this for a while, but, you know, I'll be able to stream more frequently and just more casually. So I'll be doing a lot of speed running at least in the next couple of months while I get my life situated back to a more consistent pace or whatever. But Either way, keep an eye out for like some video stuff though. I'm still always working on editing stuff in the background. I'm reviewing old stuff for like Zelda and, you know, Sonic, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, come back and speedrun in a couple of hours.